They never saw the storm because it came dressed as silence. That's how the universe moves, quiet, precise, irreversible. To the ones who mocked your growth, to the ones who whispered behind your back, who tried to dim your light with shadows, they weren't fighting you. They were fighting the current of the universe, and that is a war no one wins. Your silence was their warning. Your stillness was their signal. And now, checkmate, permanent, unforgivable. But before we go deeper, if this already speaks to your spirit, like and subscribe right now. Doing so helps send this message across the digital realm to more of the chosen. The algorithm picks up on the energy. When you engage, it signals YouTube that this message matters, and it will find more of us. Because this is no ordinary content. This is a transmission. Now listen closely. Chosen ones, you have just made the move that ends the game, whether or not you fully see it yet. While the rest of the world was busy chasing temporary wins, getting high on attention, applause and illusions. You were in alignment. You were thinking 10 steps ahead without even knowing why. You weren't playing the game. They were. You were rewriting it. You see, the ones who move with the universe don't need validation. You didn't win by chance. This wasn't luck. This was the outcome of silent wars, sleepless nights, quiet resilience, and invisible progress. And what's wild is, they thought you were losing. But checkmate doesn't shout. It doesn't ask for applause. It just ends the game. And you ended it. The enemy didn't just lose to you. They lost to the force backing you. They lost to the current of the universe that flowed through your every hard decision. They didn't know the power of what you carried. They didn't know that when they laughed at your isolation, you were in incubation. When they watched you fall, they didn't realize the universe was pulling you back like an arrow. And now you've been released. What haunts them now is not your success. It's the realization that no matter what they did, they were never in control. They tried to study you, sabotage you, even ignore you, but nothing worked. Why? Because they weren't fighting a person. They were resisting alignment. And when someone fights alignment, all they ever win is delay, not victory. And let me say this, chosen one, how dare you ever doubt your light? How dare you believe the silence meant you were alone? The universe doesn't abandon its own. It waits, it watches, it tests, and when the time is right, it strikes. You weren't delayed. You were being positioned. Your life is evidence that quiet power is the most dangerous kind. That slow growth is the kind that lasts. That real light doesn't flicker, it blinds. You didn't ask for this role, but you accepted it. And because you did, your presence now rattles the ones who once tried to overlook you. You don't need revenge. The universe already served it. Your very existence has become a consequence they cannot escape. You've become the echo in the rooms they thought they'd locked you out of. So stand tall, walk forward, and don't look back, because the board has already been cleared, and they never saw it coming. Before we move forward, take a second. If you felt that shift lately, that strange calm after chaos, drop the number 77 in the comments. That's how we'll know who's really tuned in. Engage with this message. Like it. Share it. The more you interact, the more this signal reaches those who need to hear it. The universe doesn't whisper to just anyone. And if you're still here, it's not by accident. Every second you stay is part of the awakening. This is not a game anymore. The checkmate has already happened. Now we break it down, move by move, Let's get into it. Number 1. When the dust settles, the ones left standing are the ones you should have never messed with. They danced on your quiet like it meant defeat, but they forgot. Real storms make no sound when they approach. Chosen ones, they thought you were done, that your silence meant surrender, that your stillness was the final frame before collapse. But you weren't breaking, you were charging, and now they feel the shift. You've stepped into a position so powerful, so untouchable, even they don't understand how you got here. They blinked, and checkmate. Game over. The power of being chosen isn't loud. It doesn't perform. It doesn't beg to be seen. It moves through silence, through long pauses, through decisions that don't make sense to the outside world. That stillness they mocked? It was your sharpening ground. While they chased noise and numbers, applause and validation, you disappeared into the dark and came out forged in something they can't touch. They played games with the system, manipulated outcomes, plotted, schemed, masked their envy with fake concern. But they made one fatal mistake. They played against someone backed by the current of the universe. They weren't fighting you. They were fighting alignment. And when the universe picks its pieces, every move becomes prophecy in motion. The silence you've been sitting in, that long, slow stillness, it was never weakness. It was sacred. It was the void where everything recalibrated, and it terrified them, even if they didn't show it, because only the truly powerful can sit still and know, without a doubt, that the universe is working behind the scenes. You didn't need to move loud. You didn't need to retaliate, because the checkmate wasn't happening in their field. It was happening in a realm they can't even access. You may be wondering, why does it feel so quiet if I've just won? Why does it still feel like I'm waiting, like nothing's happening? That's because you've just crossed into territory where very few ever stand. This silence? It's not the end. It's the aftermath. The battlefield is still. The enemy is stunned. They don't even realize the game is already over. And maybe you're doubting again. Maybe a part of you still believes you're just getting by, that you're still trying to find your place. How dare you think so small of your power? How dare you question the echo in your bones that tells you, you were built for this? Stop underestimating the weight of your silence, the power of your restraint, the brilliance of your alignment. You didn't lose time, you invested it. Every moment you thought was wasted was a weapon being crafted. Every delay was divine timing with sharp edges. You weren't being ignored, you were being preserved. You were being protected from doors too small for your spirit. And now, those who thought they boxed you in are realizing they only built you a platform. Let me remind you, stillness is strategy. And when the universe is on your side, your silence becomes sound waves in their world, shaking their confidence, cracking their illusions. That's why they're restless. That's why they keep watching. They feel it, even if they can't name it. You don't owe them visibility. You don't owe them updates. Let your stillness speak. Let your light confuse them. Let the fact that they can't figure out how you're still standing haunt them. That's the beauty of being chosen. You are not required to explain your process. They were reading you like a story, but you were a code not meant for their understanding. Understand this. The universe doesn't choose the loudest. It chooses the real. The ones who keep going without applause. The ones who sit in stillness while the world mocks them. The ones who are willing to lose everything fake in order to build everything real. So don't break your silence just to prove something. Don't step out of your calm to match their chaos. That's exactly what they want, to bring you out of position. But they're too late. The move has already been made. You've already secured what they can't unsee, unfeel, or undo. And it's funny, isn't it? How they were so sure you were out of options. How they treated you like a pawn, never realizing the pawn is the only piece that, when it crosses the board, transforms into anything. You didn't just survive. You evolved. Quietly. Brilliantly. And now you're something else entirely. They can't fight what they can't understand. They can't stop what they can't reach. And they definitely can't undo a checkmate that already happened in silence. Chosen one, do not look back. Do not doubt again. You are not just someone who made it through. You are the storm that reshaped the sky. Let your stillness remind them what real power looks like. Let it echo in the places you've left behind. And let this be the moment you stop explaining and start existing fully in the role the universe designed for you. The board is clear. The players have been silenced, and the only move left is yours. Number 2. They mistook your stillness for surrender, not knowing you were the lion waiting to pounce. The deadliest move is made in silence when the opponent thinks the game is paused, but in truth, the trap has already been sprung. Chosen one, let's talk about a kind of power that most people will never understand. Strategic patience. Not waiting because you're afraid. Not waiting because you're confused. But waiting because you're 10 steps ahead. And you know exactly what you're doing. You didn't freeze. You didn't give up. You didn't miss your shot. You were calculating, watching, feeling, listening to the rhythm of the universe instead of the noise of the world. And now, while they scramble to fix what's falling apart, you're standing still, because everything is finally falling into place for you. They thought your silence was hesitation. They thought your lack of movement meant you were stuck. But only a fool confuses patience with paralysis. You weren't stalled. You were sharpening your blade. Every pause you took was intentional. Every time you pulled back, you were actually setting up the strike. See, the lion isn't the one running frantic across the plains. It's the one crouched low, eyes locked, breathing slow, muscles coiled like loaded energy. The lion doesn't waste time. It waits. It studies. And when the moment is right, it ends the chase with one move. That's you. They thought you lost momentum, that you were falling behind. But momentum isn't always loud. Sometimes momentum looks like solitude. Sometimes it looks like rejection, redirection, or long seasons where nothing seems to be happening. But something was happening. Everything around you was shifting. Pieces were moving. People were revealing themselves. Blocks were being removed. The timing was aligning, not just for a win, but for your win. That's why they're nervous now. Because you didn't react, you didn't break formation. They tried everything to throw you off. They pressed your buttons, ignored you, tried to bait you, and you said nothing. You moved in silence. You stayed in control. And that's what terrifies them. You weren't desperate like they expected you to be. Let me tell you something most will never grasp. Patience is not passive. It's predatory. It's the calm of the storm before it devours everything in its path. It's the slow tightening of the bowstring. It's the silence of the sniper who doesn't fire until the target is exactly where it needs to be. The masters of this game don't rush. They don't panic. They wait for the universe to open the exact door meant for them, knowing that what's truly theirs cannot be taken, cannot be rushed, and cannot be stopped. You've become one of those masters, even if you didn't realize it yet. You've felt the frustration of waiting, the sting of being misunderstood, the ache of holding your fire when your ego begged you to strike. But you didn't fold. You trusted the timing. And that decision, to trust the universe over your emotions, was the moment everything began to shift in your favor. Strategic patience is not about doing nothing. It's about doing the right thing at the right time. And sometimes the right thing is holding your power close until the world is ready to receive it. Now look at them, panicking, scrambling, chasing shadows while you remain still, because you already know what's coming. You feel it. Your spirit is already there. You're not waiting for the moment. You are the moment. And if you've ever doubted that stillness, if you've ever questioned why you couldn't move like the others, understand this. The universe was aligning itself around you. Not in front of you, not behind you, around you. You didn't need to chase opportunities. The right ones are circling back now. You didn't need to force your worth. It's becoming undeniable. You didn't need to prove anything. The energy has already shifted in your favor, and those who once overlooked you are beginning to feel the weight of what they lost access to. So next time you find yourself in that stillness again, honor it. Don't let the outside chaos shake you. That's not your tempo. You move with cosmic rhythm now. You act when it's time, not when it's loud. Because you, chosen one, don't chase anything. You pull it in. And when you strike, you do so with the full power of a universe that has already declared checkmate. Number 3. They called it a delay, but you were being loaded like a bullet in the chamber. Precision isn't loud, it's lethal, and by the time they realize what hit them, the silence will already have spoken for you. Chosen one, this is where most people get it twisted. They think precision looks like perfection, clean lines, smooth paths, predictable outcomes, but real power, real alignment, it doesn't look like a straight road. It looks like chaos at first. It looks like setbacks, wrong turns, lost time. But that's because you were never being sent somewhere easy. You were being positioned perfectly. Your patience wasn't weakness. Your silence wasn't confusion. It was all part of a movement too exact for average minds to process. You weren't being slowed down. You were being aimed. Every obstacle you faced wasn't just allowed by the universe. It was hand-placed, like pieces on a board, so your next move would be undeniable, unstoppable, surgical. They mistook your stillness for stuckness. They thought you were lost in indecision. But when you're chosen, you don't move on impulse. You move on intuition. And intuition doesn't always show its face to the impatient. It speaks to those who have learned to sit in uncertainty and still trust the trajectory. You were being shaped by divine precision. Look back for a moment, not to mourn, but to understand. That rejection, it wasn't personal, it was protection. That opportunity that slipped, it wasn't your loss, it was a misalignment dodged. That heartbreak, it cracked your shell so your light could finally leak through. Every detour, every delay, every dismantling, it was calibration. It was the universe making adjustments that you didn't know you needed, because your next chapter required nothing less than exact alignment. Let them talk. Let them assume you're hesitating, unsure, soft, because by the time they realize the truth, it'll be too late to react. They were playing checkers with guesses. You were playing chess with the universe. They don't know what it feels like to move with a higher order. They chase timelines. You follow timing. That's why they're uneasy around you. That's why they can't predict your next step, because even you can't sometimes, until the exact second the universe whispers, "Now." You were designed for precision, not panic, not clumsy moves, not reactionary living. You were built to move exactly when the moment demands it. And that's why you've felt delayed, because what's coming for you can't arrive until everything lines up just right. You weren't being left behind. You were being layered in strategy. It's not just about where you're going, it's about how you get there. If you're off by even 1 degree, you miss everything that's meant for you. That's how sharp this path is. That's how exact this positioning is. And that's why the universe slowed you down, not to punish you, but to perfect you. This is divine precision. And now you're locked in. The moves you make from here won't be like before. There will be clarity where there was once confusion. There will be ease where there was once resistance. Why? Because now you're aligned. Not just motivated, not just hopeful. Aligned. And when alignment hits, things move fast. The very people who counted you out will have no idea how you ascended so quickly. But you'll know, you were never late. You were being timed with sniper accuracy. You are no longer stumbling forward in hope. You are being deployed. So let this be your reminder. Never again doubt the journey that felt still. Never again apologize for being quiet while everyone else rushed to be seen. Never again explain your pause to people who don't understand purpose. Precision doesn't make noise, it makes impact. They thought you were drifting. You were actually being dialed in. And when you land, when your energy collides with the exact place it was meant to activate, everything around you will shift. Opportunities, connections, timing, access. It will look like sudden success to others, but you'll know. This wasn't sudden. This was surgical. You are the universe's sharpest weapon, quiet, focused, devastating when released. And now, you're locked, loaded, and right on time. Number 4. You asked for inches, but the universe was building you a kingdom. They buried you thinking it was your end, but you were never in a grave. You were in the ground, growing. Chosen one, you've been living in the tension between who you were and who you're about to become. And that tension, that unbearable silence, that pressure that makes you question if you're even on the right path. That is the signal. The warning before the breakthrough. The stillness before the thunder. Let me make something very clear. You are not just rising, you are being launched. But before any launch, there is resistance, pressure, constriction. You're not being suffocated, you're being compressed, like coal becoming diamond, like a bow being pulled tight before the arrow flies, like a volcano building silent pressure beneath the surface until it changes the entire landscape. What you've been asking for was too small. The version of you that made those requests didn't yet realize the magnitude of what was actually being prepared. You prayed for peace. The universe prepared power. You hoped for survival. The universe arranged your reign. You begged to make it through the storm, but the storm was only clearing the path for your arrival. This discomfort, it's not a punishment, it's preparation. You've outgrown your old self, the mindset, the environments, the limitations you once accepted as facts, and now everything that no longer fits is being peeled away from you. People are falling off. Old roles are collapsing. The spaces you used to tolerate now feel suffocating. You can't fake small talk. You can't force your energy into rooms that don't deserve it. That's not a breakdown. That's a breakthrough. The old you had ambitions. The new you has assignments. And those assignments come with weight, with responsibility, with power. But before power can be placed in your hands, you have to be emptied of what would have misused it. That's why you've been losing so much. It's not loss, it's clearing. The removal of distractions, illusions, attachments. The silence around you isn't abandonment, it's alignment. The universe is focusing everything on this next moment, because this moment will redefine everything. They don't see what's happening. They think you've stalled. They think you've slipped into irrelevance, but they're looking at the surface. You're in the roots, in the blueprint, in the system reset that happens before the world notices anything changed. But when you rise, and you will, it will be impossible to ignore. The ones who laughed at your quiet seasons will be shocked at your emergence. The ones who counted you out will wonder how you did it. And the ones who tried to break you will come to understand that they were only sharpening what couldn't be destroyed. You didn't fold under pressure. You adapted. You didn't shrink in the dark. You grew, like a seed becoming something no one could see until it broke through the surface. Your isolation wasn't a tomb. It was a womb, a place of transformation, not termination. And now, chosen one, that tightness you feel, that ache in your spirit, that restless knowing that something's coming, even if you can't explain it. That's the final moment before emergence. You're not waiting for the light anymore. You are the light. And when you rise, you will not rise into the version of you they remember. You will rise into the version of you they never imagined. The one who stopped chasing scraps because you finally realized you were born to lead feasts. So don't resist the stretch. Don't run from the discomfort. This awkward, quiet, uncomfortable place. This is where kings and queens are forged. This is where legends are born. This is where your future self is shaped by the fire of now. They buried you, thinking it would silence you. But the silence was only the universe holding its breath. Right before it unleashes you. And when it does, there will be no going back. Number 5. The ground didn't shake, but the whole game just changed. True power doesn't arrive with noise, it arrives with weight, and when it enters the room, nothing breathes the same again. Chosen one, the shift is not coming, it's already here. You may not have realized it yet because it didn't announce itself with fireworks or a grand reveal. But make no mistake, the atmosphere around you has changed. Something unspoken has taken root in your presence, and those who cross your path feel it before they can name it. You've crossed an invisible line, the before and after. And on this side, you're not chasing anything. You are the arrival. This isn't about charm or being liked or being followed. That's surface level. You've stepped into something deeper, energetic authority. The kind of presence that doesn't ask for attention. It pulls it in without trying. That shift you feel in your chest. That calm weight in your body. That's alignment. That's power settling into its rightful place. And they feel it too. Oh, they feel it. The same people who used to overlook you can't stop watching now. The same ones who doubted your value now feel strangely quiet in your presence. What changed? You did, but not in the way they think. You didn't get louder. You didn't get more aggressive. You didn't chase validation. You found your center. And when someone finds that center, truly locks into it, they become immovable. You've become a force now. Not the kind that swings wildly, trying to prove itself, but the kind that stands, fully rooted. And because of that, the game has shifted in your favor without you even needing to fight for it. Here's the truth. Energy never lies. And the energy you carry now doesn't beg. It doesn't ask. It doesn't even need to explain. It simply commands. With eye contact, with silence, with presence. The way you walk into a room now, it's not about what you're wearing or what you say. It's about the vibration that enters before you speak and lingers after you leave. Respect used to be something you fought for. You tried to earn it, prove yourself, be everything to everyone. But those days are over. Now you are respected by default, not because of ego, but because of frequency. You've reached a vibration that cannot be faked, replicated, or diluted. It either is, or it isn't. And for you, it is. You don't have to defend yourself anymore, because you've become the fortress. You used to build walls to protect your energy. Now you are the wall. You used to shrink to keep peace. Now your peace is so solid, it disrupts anything not aligned with it. The shift is here. You are not the same, and the world is adjusting to you, not the other way around. They can feel the difference when they speak to you now. Less reaction, more reflection. Less noise, more knowing. The old version of you would have argued. This version just watches. The old version wanted to be understood. This version just is. And if you're feeling a strange sense of detachment from things you used to care about, that's part of it. The shift clears clutter, emotional, mental, even social. What no longer aligns will fall away naturally. You don't have to chase closure. You don't have to explain your growth. Your energy is already doing the talking, loudly. This isn't arrogance. This is arrival. This is what it looks like when someone walks through fire, crawls through shadow, and chooses not to give up. This is what it looks like when someone embraces the isolation, honors the silence, and trusts the inner voice more than the outside noise. You are not becoming powerful. You are power realized. And now that you've found your center, nothing can knock you off it. Not fear, not rejection, not delay, not even loss. Because power doesn't come from what you hold. It comes from who you are without anything in your hands. So let the shift settle. Let the silence speak. Let your new frequency do what words never could. You're not in the game anymore. You've become the board. Number 6. You're not reaching anymore. You're radiating. When alignment becomes your frequency, force becomes irrelevant. What's meant for you doesn't need to be chased. It's already on its way. Chosen one, something has shifted in your very field of being. You may have noticed it quietly, subtly, people responding to you differently, opportunities surfacing out of nowhere. a calm knowing, replacing the old urge to prove yourself. This isn't random. This isn't luck. This is magnetism. Pure, powerful, undeniable magnetism. You've stepped into a state that can't be faked. Energetic alignment. And when a soul hits alignment, the entire universe adjusts. The right people, the right moments, the right doors. They begin showing up without you having to push or pull. Why? Because your energy is finally speaking loud enough for the world to hear without a word. You've stopped chasing, and now everything worth having is finding you. This is the kind of power that doesn't roar. It draws. It doesn't demand. It pulls. And it's not because you're trying harder. It's because you've stopped trying to be what you're not. You've released the need to perform, to please, to fit in. And in that release, something sacred happened. Your true signal finally went out. You're no longer sending mixed messages to the universe. No more prayers laced with doubt. No more vision clouded by fear. You're tuned in. And now, what's tuned to your frequency is coming into orbit, fast. But this magnetism isn't just about attraction. It's also about protection. The attacks that used to rattle your soul, the opinions that once pierced your heart, they can't touch you now. Your energy is too refined, too elevated, too sealed. It's like throwing pebbles at a mountain. They bounce off before they even register as threats. You don't even have to defend yourself anymore. Your presence does that for you. Your energy now sets a tone when you walk into a space. It silences the nonsense. It settles the chaos. It activates the aware and exposes the insecure. Not because you're trying to dominate, but because your alignment is louder than ego could ever be. This is the power of true resonance, and it changes everything. You'll notice your words hit differently now. You say less, but they land harder. You make fewer moves, but they have greater impact. Even your silence holds weight. People sense your decisions in ways they can't explain. That's because you're no longer moving from pressure. You're moving from presence. And that presence, it's medicine to some and a mirror to others. To those who are aligned, you feel like clarity, calm, permission to expand. To those who are not, you feel like discomfort, challenge, even threat. And that's okay. Your energy is not here to make everyone comfortable. It's here to be real, to be true. And anything not aligned with truth will naturally fall away. You are no longer the seeker. You are the signal. And what's powerful about this magnetic field is that it doesn't just serve you. It shifts everyone you come into contact with. You're the kind of energy that lingers. People leave your presence thinking differently, feeling differently, acting differently. That's not charisma. That's alignment. That's what happens when you walk in full authenticity. The world doesn't need another person chasing clout, validation, or fake influence. It needs you, unfiltered, grounded, magnetically still in who you are. And yes, that might mean losing some people, letting some things go, walking away from roles, labels, identities that no longer match your frequency. That's the cost of magnetism. It doesn't cling, it clears. Because the moment you hold on to something not meant for you, you block what is. So, trust the shift. Let what's falling away fall. Let what's delayed delay. Because anything that's truly aligned with you cannot and will not miss you. This is what it means to move like the mountain. Strong, still, magnetic. No longer chasing storms, but letting the winds bend around you. You've become the gravity in your own story. And that kind of presence, that kind of power, it pulls everything into place. Without force, without noise, just alignment. Number 7, you didn't just win. You became the proof. That alignment is real. The mountain doesn't ask for validation. It just stands. And in its stillness, everything around it has no choice but to adjust. Chosen one, let's be clear. This moment is bigger than you. Yes, you've secured the checkmate. Yes, you've shattered the patterns, broken the cycles, silenced the noise. But don't mistake this as just a personal win. This is universal design. What you've just walked into is a role far greater than titles, applause, or even recognition. You've become a living, breathing confirmation of what happens when someone chooses alignment over approval. When someone says yes to the mission before they see the map. When someone trusts the whisper of purpose more than the scream of distraction. This isn't about striving anymore. That season is over. The mountain doesn't strain to rise. It simply is. It doesn't need to announce itself. Its presence does all the speaking. And that's where you are now. The ocean doesn't explain its depth. It just pulls you in. That's the energy you carry. A quiet, undeniable presence that shifts the air when you walk into a room. That's not charisma. That's not charm. That's truth, embodied. You're no longer out here trying to prove your value. You are the value. And the world is finally starting to catch up. Not because you shouted louder, but because you stood truer. And now, the universe has made it official. What has been written into your path cannot be erased. What you've unlocked cannot be reversed. You've stepped into something permanent. This checkmate moment, it's cosmic. You weren't just playing a personal game. You were being moved by something much bigger than you. And every obstacle, every betrayal, every delay was part of a grand orchestration designed to position you here. Untouchable, unshakable, activated. And now you're stepping out of the weight of old patterns. No more being pulled by fear. No more falling into cycles of proving, pleasing, performing. That gravity no longer holds you. You've broken the orbit. And now you move in the direction of freedom, flow, expansion. You're in a new realm now, a place where the impossible feels like routine, where the things you used to dream about show up like daily reality. Why? Because you're no longer just working hard, you're working from alignment. And when your spirit aligns with universal timing, the rules change. The system shifts. Miracles become the default, not the exception. People will start to ask you how you did it, how you stayed standing when it looked like you were finished, how you rose without help, without noise, without compromise. And your answer won't be a formula. It'll be a frequency. You didn't follow steps. You followed the signal. Because that's what the chosen do. You didn't get here by accident. You didn't just make it through. You were carved out for this. You were trained by silence, molded by isolation, refined by fire. Every tear you cried in private, every no you heard, every room you had to walk away from, it all served the mission. And now, the mission is live. The world doesn't need more noise. It doesn't need more hollow influence. It needs anchored power. And that's you. Not flashy, not performative, just real. just aligned, just undeniable. You're not here to compete. You're not here to convince. You're here to demonstrate, to be, to move in such wholeness that your life becomes evidence that truth still wins, that patience still pays, that the universe still honors those who walk in integrity when no one's watching. So if it's felt heavy lately, if you've felt the pressure building even in the victory, understand this: great power always comes with great positioning. You weren't elevated just to enjoy it. You were elevated to use it, to light the way, to be the signal for others still lost in the fog. You are no longer climbing the mountain. You are the mountain. And from here on out, the only thing left to do is rise higher. Number 8. You are the evidence that nothing was ever random. They called it chaos, but it was choreography. You just moved in rhythms they were never meant to hear. Chosen one, take this in. You are living proof of divine order. You're not here by accident. You didn't stumble into alignment. You were guided, strategically, precisely, and even when you were buried in confusion, when the road disappeared beneath your feet, when the silence stretched so long you began to question everything, something higher was still calculating every move. This isn't some cute concept to make you feel better. This is cosmic math, sacred symmetry, energetic geometry folding space and time around your path to deliver you here, into a moment that was always waiting for your arrival. The checkmate didn't just happen. It was orchestrated, long before the game even started. And you've become the evidence. You are what it looks like when alignment becomes embodiment, when a soul that has been dragged through pain, pressure, and purification finally stands tall in its true form, not polished, not perfect, but pure. And with that purity comes power, not the kind you perform, but the kind that speaks through presence. You're not who you used to be. You've transcended the version of yourself that was still negotiating your worth. That identity, the one that settled, that tolerated, that doubted, served a purpose, but it no longer holds power. You've outgrown it. You no longer move from fear. You move from knowing. You no longer ask if you belong. You understand that you are the axis of your own reality. This is destiny. And let's be honest, destiny doesn't mean the path is easy, but it means every challenge now works for you. You no longer crumble under pressure because you are the pressure. You no longer view obstacles as enemies because you see how they redirect, refine, and realign you with something higher. You no longer call it loss, because now you know it was leverage. They thought those moments broke you, that the betrayals, the failures, the silence, the shadows were your undoing. But every so-called loss carved more space for what you were really here to hold. And now you carry something they can't name, but they feel it. A weight, a resonance, a calm power that only comes from walking through fire and letting it make you holy, not hollow. Everything that was meant to destroy you became instruction. Every closed door built the hallway. Every delay became divine timing on a clock they don't see. And now, chosen one, you are no longer walking toward your purpose. You are living it, breathing it, being it. You've become the answer to your own questions, the outcome of your own surrender, the reward for your own patience. You didn't have to fight your way into this position. You aligned into it. And that's why it cannot be undone. What has been written in divine order isn't subject to human interference. What's yours isn't up for negotiation. And what's coming? It's not a maybe. It's already been decided. It's just arriving in physical form now. There will be moments ahead that test you. Don't doubt that. But the difference now is you know who you are. And that knowing, it shifts everything. It turns resistance into refinement. It turns pain into clarity. It turns life into art. You are the living, breathing revelation that nothing was wasted, that the mess was the message, that the pain had purpose, that the breakdown was a setup for the shift. People will try to explain your glow. They'll ask what changed, but it won't be something you can easily put into words. Because how do you explain being remade? How do you describe the moment when everything shattered? And instead of collapsing, you crystallized. You don't explain it. You embody it. You move forward as proof, as presence, as the walking answer to the question, what happens when someone lets the universe take the lead and never gives up, even in the dark? You happen. And now the world has no choice but to respond. Not because you're demanding it, but because your frequency leaves no room for anything less than what's aligned. So, walk as you are now, not as who you were. You're not the one seeking order anymore. You are the order. Number 9. You didn't just win. You inherited the whole board. The throne was never given. It was grown into, in silence, in fire, in moments that looked like nothing but were actually everything. Chosen one, pause. Don't rush past this moment. Let it land. Take a breath. Feel the stillness settle into your bones. Not the kind that comes from waiting, but the kind that comes from arriving. Because this is it. The victory isn't somewhere in the distance. The shift isn't ahead of you. You're standing in it. The ground beneath you is not the same. The atmosphere around you has changed. The board has been flipped. And you're no longer playing from the sidelines. You're sitting at the center. You've claimed the throne, not through force, not through screaming to be seen, but through alignment. Through enduring the chaos without letting it twist you, through trusting your inner compass when everything external told you to give up, through waiting when your ego begged to act, through rising quietly, powerfully, without compromise. The win is not the crown, it's the becoming. Because the truth is, you were never chasing the throne, you were the throne. But it took time, it took trial, it took losing versions of yourself that were never built to carry the kind of legacy you're stepping into now. This isn't a highlight moment. This is a handoff from the universe itself, a confirmation, a coronation. You are not who you were when this all began, and thank the stars for that. Because only this version of you could carry what's coming next. The checkmate isn't just a win, it's a new law. The rules that used to bind you, the loops, the limits, the lack, they don't apply anymore. That system, it doesn't have jurisdiction here. You didn't just make the winning move. You redefined the entire game. You elevated the field. You set a new frequency. And now everything must rise to meet it, or fall away trying. Understand something deeply. This is not just your moment. It's a mirror for others, a signal for every other chosen one who's still in the shadows, still doubting, still waiting for permission to rise. You are the evidence now, living proof that alignment outlasts chaos, that stillness outshines noise, That purpose will always pull you through the fire if you don't quit. Your presence has become permission. Your breakthrough is now a blueprint. And with that comes weight, responsibility, not to prove anything, but to be everything you were forged to be. You don't need to explain how you got here. You are how you got here. Your path wasn't linear, your progress wasn't loud, but your presence now, unmistakable. They can sense it, even if they don't understand it. The energy has changed. You're not asking for a seat anymore. You own the table. And not because of entitlement, but because you earned it in rooms where no one saw you, through decisions no one applauded, in seasons where you were your only witness. So now, own it. Stop shrinking. Stop apologizing. Stop hesitating. This is not arrogance. This is activation. This is what happens when someone steps out of survival and into sovereignty. You're not becoming the leader. You are the leader. And that doesn't mean life gets easier. It means your responses get stronger, your discernment sharper, your path clearer. Because now you move from truth, not trauma, from purpose, not pressure. The throne was never about power over others. It was always about mastery over yourself. And now that you've arrived, stay seated in it. Let your stillness speak. Let your energy lead. Let your presence do what words never could. Because the game is done. The board is yours. And this new realm you're stepping into, it's not a reward. It's your inheritance. And now, as the final move settles and the dust clears, understand this. Nothing will ever be the same again. You didn't just win a battle. You stepped into a reality built for you by alignment. The throne is claimed. The board is yours. Walk forward like it. If this message hit your spirit, like the video, subscribe for more, and drop the number 77 in the comments so others know you're activated. And don't keep this to yourself. Share it. There are other chosen ones waiting for a sign. Let this be it. The shift has begun. Now, move like it.